Something.
All set? You know the magic words? Please do.
Good skip. Dan.
Sit down for a moment. Vern Borgen needs no introduction simply because you all got introduced to him when you came in. But Vern, as you well know, is our clinician for the evening. I'm going to have Vern tell you a little bit about his stint at NDSU and some of the clubs that evolved as a result of that. Vern is a Rokudan in, shall we just say Zen Judo or something? And also USJA, or he's done.
USJA 6th Dan.
Yeah.
And
Fifth Dan.
Fifth Dan and Zen Judo.
Zen Judo, which is, Zen Judo is not just someplace where something where you meditate and think about maybe doing judo. Vern will give you a little better idea about what that means as well. Would you introduce a couple of the folks who are directly descended from your original club, please?
Okay, down at the far end, Steve Peckman. Now apparently living in Rapid City, which is only 50 miles away from me, and I didn't even know that until just 2 days ago. So we'll have to get together with Steve and see what's going on there. Steven Zur from Bismarck, he's the head coach in Bismarck, and he's been there for, I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that. So it's been quite a while. So I guess you all know Nick over here. I don't need to introduce him at all. But don't forget Mac. Oh, Mac. Oh, Mac Rudd, yes, of course. Mac is from the St. Cloud Club. And tomorrow they're sponsoring Jimmy Pedro for his seminar. So if you got some time on your hands and want to see a really, really good seminar, that would be a good one to see. So.
How many of you are not aware of the federal clinic and have not any information on it? We managed to disseminate fairly well. Good. If you, for some reason, still don't think you do, make sure you talk to Mac before you leave. Any other folks?
No.
That's a bunch. Could we have the downgrades please take the front row over here so that we can have a presentation
Actually, taking in charge of presentations, let's turn it around the other way so that there's that chart over there.
Let's put everybody over there.
I'll just take over.
Now you got it.
Okay. I had an opportunity to study with Stephen Cunningham. For those of you who don't know who he is, he studied with Taizo Sone, who was an 8th degree black belt who immigrated to the United States from Japan, was sent over here by the Kodokan. Sone studied with Nagaoka, who was the 3rd 10th degree black belt, and considered to be, from my research, to be one of the most gifted black belts that they had within the Kodokan. He was considered to be a child prodigy, was involved in a number of major projects within the Kodokan, and so he contributed an awful lot to the judo that we do today. Actually, the Zen Judo, the belt that I'm wearing is Zen Judo. This comes from the Buto Kukwai, which was a martial arts teachers college in Kyoto. And Nagaoka was one of the key people at the Buto Kukwai in Kyoto. And so my lineage kind of goes both directions. I get it from Zen Judo, and I also get it come back from Steve Cunningham. So anyway, what happened is back in the 90s, Steve Cunningham had a bulletin board on the internet, one of the first ones. It was called the Judo L. And one of my students, who at the time lived in Minneapolis, said to me, he said, Vern, there's a guy who's on the internet, and he's talking about arcs and the Gokyo no Waza. And I said, what? And I said, I better check this out. So I did. Within a year, we had Steve Cunningham come to Fargo for the first of 4 times that he came to Fargo. And I went to visit his dojo in Connecticut once after that. So over about a 10-year period of time, he gave me this information, and allowed me to do my own personal research on it. And so this is about the Gokyo no Waza. I think most people are familiar with this. At one point, this was considered to be the only 40 techniques within Judo. This was after World War II, when the Japanese were trying to open up the Kodokan before any of the other martial arts, and so they called it a sport rather than calling it a martial art, and they just limited the number of techniques that they had to 40. But actually, in reality, there's several hundred different techniques in Judo, old-style Judo, maybe not so much recognized by the Kodokan today, but in the old days they were open. So the 40 techniques in here were not the only techniques associated with Judo, but just were 40 out of several hundred. What Kano wanted to do is he wanted to have maximum efficiency, minimum effort in everything that he did. So he wanted to find teaching situations that taught students faster than anything previously had. And so what he was looking for is kind of guiding principles, little things that were similar between techniques that could train a student in the fastest amount of time. And so first Gokyo no Waza came out in 1895, and for those of you who have seen that, some of the columns had 6 or 7 techniques in them, and there was kind of a mishmash of things. To my way of thinking, since I've been in graduate school, I just kind of went, it really looks like a graduate school project. And so about 20 years later, in the 1920s, Kano published this version of the Gokyo no Waza, and it was completed at this point. And the way this is set up is it's set up kind of like a spreadsheet. And so the rows going across all represent arcs of motion. So it's, if my whole body, like Osotogari, goes in one direction, that's one arc. But if I have 2 hands going, and so I step over for Tayatoshi, now I've got 2 arcs. And then 3 arcs, 4 arcs, and 5 arcs. And the columns going across are, the Japanese would call them dan, or steps, or columns. And so each one of these is associated with a principle of movement. So the first one is retreat, the second one is horizontal circle, third one is spiral in, fourth one is rotation over an oblique axis while pulling, turn and press, rotation over an oblique axis while pushing, spiral out, and vertical circle. So what we're going to do with this is I'm going to split this right down the middle where this red line is, and we're going to take the back half is pushing techniques, and the front half are all pulling techniques. Actually, the word tashiru means to retreat. And so if you've ever done Neiashi Burai, where you step back and you sweep the foot, you're retreating, you're backing up, you're creating the power by pulling back and away from somebody. So all of this first half of the Gokyo no Waza involves techniques where you're actually retreating away from somebody. The other half we're going to come to in just a few minutes, and we'll talk about what Neibaru means once we get to that. First technique we're going to do is Kizaguruma. I'll use Mac if I may, please. The way this one starts is I'm just going to press forward and get Mac to take that step back. Everybody knows you just slide your foot up a little bit over here so you get a good position for it. Now, I'm going to do it wrong because it illustrates the point better than doing it right. If I just shift my weight back over to my foot, I just shifted Mac over to that foot. I bring my foot up and he just steps over the top of it. Okay? The key to this is making that retreating motion. I went back, I retreated, but instead of retreating linearly, I'm going to retreat in a big circle. And he goes around the outside edge. That's this horizontal circle. I'm getting him to come around this outside edge because I'm rotating shifting my weight back. I rotate it over my foot rather than sliding linearly back on it. Okay. Slide up. Get some room. Go ahead. Let's do a couple of them, and then we'll come back and we'll continue moving up the ladder. This earlier, but with all the techniques that we got to really move along fairly quickly. So I'm going to do this by showing the technique and then doing a quick tune-up. So one of the things I want to show you with this is that, one, this movement allows me to retreat back and hold my partner, opponent, off on his little toe, on his right foot. All right. The other thing that this retreat does is it's really strong. All right, I'm not going to lift my foot. You're going to have to run.
Okay.
Okay, all right, ready? See how much power you can generate with that rotating hip? So that's what you're looking for, is to begin to get that to work together. As you make that turn, you want to snap your hips into it and use that hip as a driving force for making the throw. Go ahead, one more time, 2 more times each, and then we'll come back to the next technique. All right, next one, we did Izaguruma. As I stepped forward, notice everything went in the same direction. My body was kind of, everything floated all in one direction. So that's the one arc. We're going to do a 2-arc throw, Kochigari. And it has that same circular motion to it, that horizontal circle. This one has kind of the same sort of a timing step. But what I want to do this time in my timing step is I want to step almost underneath my own foot. That draws my partner's foot, just a little bit of a hand motion here in front of my foot. All I have to do is just circle and hit the back of his foot. So there's no reaching in order to grab Kochigari. All I'm going to do is just pull here. That 1 arc, 2 arcs is back. So, Kochigari. Go ahead. The key to making a very fast hip motion is a small radius of gyration. All right, that's an engineering term, but it's really easy to understand. We all know figure skaters do this. What happens when they pull their arms in? They go faster. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to make our radius as small as possible. You left yourself go for a run.
Oh, sorry.
So I want to step back really close. In fact, when I did this, when I practiced a lot with it, I would step my own toes underneath my heel. It makes it pretty easy then to get my partner to step past my foot. All I have to do is just grab it, okay, because it's right there. So, quick, allows me to make a very fast step because I'm using my hips to help me spin faster and make that step move quicker. All right, go ahead. That way.
That way.
That way.
All right.
All right, so this is here. That's using that same circle that we were doing just a minute ago. Again. Watch his shoulders. That's where the key motion is. I'm going to bring his shoulder forward and then bring it back and down. So it's here. It's a real strong motion. Last one is Uki Waza. Oh, by the way, once you start getting into 4th and 5th kill, sometimes it's really hard to tell where the arcs are. And after you study it for a while, if you do it 20 or 30 times in a practice, then all of a sudden you can start going, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll just kind of sort them out. But sometimes it's really difficult to teach them. So it becomes something that you do more by study than by teaching. Okay, last one is Ukiwaza. And Ukiwaza involves a big circular hip motion with my hips, but it's not so much, it kind of opens vertically, and then I lay down. Okay? Ukiwaza. Okay. That we just demonstrated. Now we're going to switch. We're going to go to Ogoshi. Everybody goes, I know what Ogoshi is. First thing is, it's nebaru. It means roughly push, but it really means stickiness. Sometimes in Aikido we use the word irini, to enter. Okay, so it's an entering motion where you try to get closer to your partner rather than stepping back and moving away from it. So we're going to do a very old style of Ogoshi. Here. I'm going to step here, put my shoulder against his side, and I'm going to step through, and at the very last instant, I'm going to insert my hip in front of his hip. One of the things that I have to remember is I need this kind of a bent over shape. I don't want to do this. because now I'm pulling. So if I do anything from here, it's pull. So what I want to do is I want to push and kind of trip at the end. Okay. So take one step. I'm standing here in front. One step. This is good, he's on a line. His toes are on a line. My toes are on that same line. Arm goes around behind. Old version of Ogoshi is hand high up in the shoulder, like in the Nage no Kata Goshi. Newer versions have Ogoshi with around the back, behind the back. I prefer the higher one after I've used it for a while. You can choose whichever one you want. Shoulder into your partner, press, and block. Now it should feel like uke. Uke should be moving. And what I'm doing is, I get him moving, and I'm just going to insert my hip very, very quickly, just like trying to trip somebody. One more time. Here, it's got more of a projection. We're trying to throw him off to the side. Okay, go ahead. Ogoshi. But what this one really relates to is the next one up, which is Hayagoshi. Now you saw on Ogoshi, it was just one arc. You step in, you put your hip, bump with a little bit of hip, hands, body, everything kind of goes in one direction. When we do Hayatoshi, and I'm going to do it from exactly the same stance. Put your feet on the line, please. All right? So I step over here, but now I don't have my hand around behind the back. I've got my hand on the collar, and so I have to manage his hips with my hand on the collar, and I'm not going to make contact with his body. So I'm going to just basically step across from here and press across. So step. That's old style Hayatoshi. It ends up being very straight, very linear. I'm going to step right straight toward the wall here. And it's more of a casting sort of a motion. Okay. So, try this. Get to the side, same way as you did with Ogoshi. But now I need the second hand in order to control the shoulders. So I've got one hand here, this one I can lock in place. But now in order to control the shoulders, I need to have that second hand. And we'll come back to it in the next, when I tune this up. But go ahead and just try this. Here, step through, press hard. You want to push him. Once you get to the end, kind of reef him down and pull him back up. Go ahead. You are. Especially where you back into it. So I'm here and I'm just going to step back with my left foot and then stride out with my right foot. Now, some people like to get really close and make contact. It isn't necessary to do so. Sone Sensei called that training wheels. So whenever you had like that was training wheels. But you don't have to put your foot any place. All you have to do is get it out of the way so that you can drop. Okay, so again, here, all I did is drop my foot back, straight back, just to get that body drop, to impart that motion to my partner. So if you get hooked on this idea of getting in really close and making that work, it's not really necessary. That's all right. You can make a good technique that way. But it's not necessary to make that contact. You can put your foot back here. Mifune does this in his videos. Or you can put your foot back here. But the idea is that you get that dropping part of the body, which is Tai, body, otoshi, to drop. Okay, go ahead. I want to make one point here, is that what this says here is not the way that all techniques need to be done. Okay? You can do Hayatoshi with a pulling motion. Alright? There's a lot of people who do really, really well with Hayatoshi with a pulling motion. They get around here, they get here, and they pull their partner over the top of their body. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. It means that instead of doing Tayatoshi here, you're doing Tayatoshi over here. These are just power generating steps. They don't go back to specific techniques. They use specific techniques to illustrate the power step, how to get power out of it. So when I do Hirai-goshi, Hirai-goshi is over here in the 7th dan. When I do Hirai-goshi, I do it like straight komi-goshi. That was always my favorite way to do it when I did tournament. And it worked really, really well for me. It doesn't make it, because I'm doing it differently, doesn't make it wrong. So if you like Tayatoshi done a different way, don't feel bad that I'm saying that it's wrong, because I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that you've got one of these movement principles that you really like, and you're adapting your techniques to fit into one or two of those different movement principles that you're real comfortable with. That makes them right, okay? So principles are always right. What they're associated with can always be a little bit different. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about there. We're going to jump up. We've got to kind of keep going here. We've got a lot of techniques yet to do. Hirai-suri komi-ashi. All right. Okay. Line, feet on the toes. Okay. Here, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to step in like I've got Tayatoshi, but now he resists back. All right. And once he resists back, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to push the foot up and out from underneath him. Okay? So this one builds from Tayatoshi. I've got 2 arcs in Tayatoshi, one pressing here, the other one pressing here, and the third arc is the lifting leg. So some of these tell a story. So Ogoshi, I've got Ogoshi, I can get my arm around behind his back. All right, the next time he won't let me put my arm around behind his back, so I have to do Tayatoshi. He blocks Tayatoshi, I have to do Hirai-suri komi-ashi. Okay, so as you go and you start looking at some of these, they actually tell stories about how you get into this movement principle, and bang, you run into something, and you modify it. Okay, so Hirai-suri komi-ashi, this one's for demonstration. So step to the side, and trying to keep it as much like the last Tayatoshi as we could. I'm going to twist him around, and he's going to fight me back. So fights back. Hirai-suri komi-ashi. Okay. We're going to skip over Ruba. We're going to go over here to Ukigoshi, one of my favorite techniques. And Ukigoshi works on a timing step. You're going to do this one too. So forward and backward. I'm on my right foot. And as he steps, I'm just going to fake him. He's going to step right into my arm, so I don't have to chase him with my arm at all. My shoulder goes back, and he takes that step forward because he thinks that I took a normal step and I didn't. All right, once I get to here, I need to readjust my feet. I turn my feet to spoon with his, this way. Then I'm going to pull him to me, and I'm going to shift my weight. I'm pretty well balanced right now. I'm going to shift to the front foot over here. And now, notice that I'm not trying to lift him up off the ground. In fact, my posture is fairly upright, and I want to pull him to me, and I'm going to back up. I'm going to turn my hip that way. Okay? So, here, I'm loaded. All I have to do is pin into my hip a little bit with my hand. I'm going to back my hip up. I'm not going to throw you this time back. Notice how much I can get his feet off the ground by that retreating motion with my hip. Okay? Remember, these are all retreating motions.
Is the arc parallel to the ground?
Yes, it is. Okay, so again here, back, spin.
What a throw!
All right, who's referee? Is that?
Yeah.
Do I get any bond for that?
Two equals.
All right.
Yeah.
Here, just step across. So you fake the step, and the shoulder goes back. Turn your hips. Ukigoshi. Go ahead.
Very little weight goes on the right foot ever, huh?
No. Yeah, this one ends up going over, turns, shift my weight to the left foot. Right foot ends up being fairly light.
Position.
Yeah, positioning. Go ahead, try it. Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yep.
We're going to skip Suriko Migoshi. It's kind of the same comment that I had in Hayatoshi. Control the shoulders, you need both hands, you don't have an arm around behind the back. Okay. In the interest of time here.
But Vern, would you just show it once? Don't say anything, just show it to me. I gotta see it. Just show it. Thank you.
Okay. Next one is Ashiguruma. Ashiguruma is can be done with a spinning step, or it can be done with a back step. But the key is to start out with your toes pointing up. Eventually you won't do this, but you want to start this way when you first start doing this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate my whole body and point my toes down to the floor, at the same time wrapping him around my upper body. All right, so just a back step here, up. And it's just a simple spiraling in motion, I guess if you will, or a rolling motion. I'm rolling him over my leg by pulling him. Okay, so one more time. This is a good tournament technique. I like this one. Very easy to pull off. Okay, Ashiguruma. Yes, really quick. Break for I'm trying to think of all the questions that I heard while I'm out there. I guess the thing that takes some time to get used to is making that turning motion smooth. It's fairly easy to come in here and hop and get it this way, but it's really much more efficient when you actually whoops. When you pull hard enough that your foot twists on your foot, your base actually shifts for you. So I'm not shifting my foot manually. It's just shifting because of the rest of my body motion. Okay. I don't know, it's been a long time since I've done this. This used to be another one of my favorite techniques. You don't have to be very close to do this. I did a back step into this, kind of a flare step into this. You'll see people who do this with a spinning motion into this. All I do is just into it without just straight into it. Oops. Somebody's glasses are getting some exercise. Okay. So if you want to play with that just for 2 more times each, and then we'll move on to the next technique. Go ahead. We're going to go from Ashiguruma, which is a retreating technique. We're going to go into Okaruma, which is a pushing technique. They kind of look the same, but the difference is that one pulls and the other one pushes. And I can pretty much use the same kind of setup, right? Use this back flare step. But the key to this one is that this leg is active. Ashiguruma, the leg was passive. It made contact and it kind of twisted, but it didn't push. Right? All it did is it kind of, through that circular motion, it kind of got my body into the right position, but it didn't the leg wasn't trying to do anything. With Okaruma, I'm trying to do something with my leg. That is, his leg comes up here and high. So hit him right across the top of the hips. So again, flare step back, leg come forward, and you bump. Yep, that's wrong. And again, this can be done with that nice little, whatever they call this, spinning in step. Okay, go ahead. Okaruma. Push your partner over the leg. We're going to go now to spiral out. And the first technique that we're going to do in there is called Uchigari. Everybody's familiar with this one. This is a little bit different way of doing this. When I talked to, I'm trying to remember who it was, gosh, I wish I could remember who it was. It's somebody my age. And he was saying that his sensei used to do this to him. So this is something that's quite old. And this is the only time that I've ever seen this odd footstep that I'm going to demonstrate for you. So, the way this one works is you start out by kind of getting your foot closer to your partner. Eventually it doesn't make any difference where you are with your foot, but it's just easier when you first start this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my heel to the outside, 90 degrees where my body is, on my toes, and I'm going to rock back. How come you're walking?
I don't know.
You don't know. All right. Just take your heel and push it to the outside and rock back. Notice that I get my partner to walk right in front of my leg. Okay, so again, heel out, turn your hips out, rock back. Do a little shigari. Walking right by your leg, all you have to do is just turn your leg to follow his movement. Excuse me. So I don't have to fish. Okay, there's no fishing involved. I don't have to be out here and have to reach or anything else in order to get that leg, because he's going to walk right by me. Turn my heel out, rock back, and press him down. Everything kind of goes in the direction of the leg. So hand, body, leg, everything kind of goes in the same direction from one arm. So one more time. Like I said, you know, there. This isn't very close, but I can still get this working. If he does that, that's all right. He doesn't follow it up with something else. But heel out, shift out, and do Oshigari. Go ahead. Heel at 90 degrees. Stay on your toes. Then I rock back.
Yeah. Oh, you're walking
When I rock back, that's where the pull is. There you go. Oshi starts out with the same foot feet that we have for Oshigari. Same silly step. Off to the side. Here it comes around and now. Paraigoshi for this syllabus, and the way that Stephen Cunningham taught it, is not a leg up. It's a ringing rag. And so the leg goes one way, shoulder goes the other way. The foot stays on the floor the same way that it does for Ushigari. It comes up in the end because gravity forces it up, because he's falling, and the weight is up here. So my leg tends to rise towards the end of it. But I'm not trying to lift my leg. I'm trying to grab him like you'd grab a wet rag and wring it by taking it in two different directions, twisting it. Okay? So it starts out the same way here. I get him moving. I start out with a fake foot. Notice that my foot moves over here. Before it went this direction. Now it's going over here. He's still going that direction. I'm backing into it this way. Come here. This top part goes this direction. The thing that I like about it is that it doesn't go up. It goes down. So there isn't much of an opportunity for him to round off out of this, because he's down lower than my hip and he rotates lower than my hip. He never goes over the top of the hip. Okay? Go ahead. Paraigoshi. Come on. Give everybody a chance to try this once or twice more. It's a kind of a complicated technique. So, again, it doesn't make any difference where you are. It's easier to start with when you're doing this by taking a step close by this way. And notice that my foot just drifts right over in front of his foot. So my right foot is in front of his right foot. As far as my posture is concerned, I don't want to bend or anything else. I'm going to keep it upright, in fact, very upright, this way. And I just draw this in so that he's close and back my left foot into it a little bit here. And I start this twisting motion at the top. And just basically twist him down to the ground. Okay? Go ahead. Try it again a couple times and then we'll move on.
As you bring this forward, turn.
I haven't decided whether we're going to demonstrate this one or whether we're going to do it. Tom Sensei? Is it okay if everybody does tomoe nage?
As long as we all go one direction, or you start at the outside and throw to the middle.
Okay.
I'm just looking to see who's not laughing.
Well, this is, we're working on this spiral out motion. So, the first movement we had was here, and we spiral our leg out. Okay, so that's spiraling out. The next one is karaigoshi, so I turn to the side, feint across, come here, and now I'm spiraling out again. The next one is tomoe nage, that's also a spiral out. And it starts exactly the same way with this same dumb footstep that we had before. So all I want to do is turn my heel to the outside. Guess what? As I make this step back, he walks right onto where my foot is. Can you see that? So here, turn.
Sweet.
Same foot motion. This time you get to launch him. All right, are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Here. He goes across the body, so it's not like it's a straight over the top of the head, but it goes across the body, so it's technically a side yoko tomoe nage. So go ahead. Right foot is the one that goes up into your partner's stomach.
Let's do this. Let us have the higher ranking people go first with it. Then we'll have the lower ranking people go next with it. You're all going to start over there and you're going to go this way.
And then you're going to come back again.
But let's have it go in halves and halves. Unless you're a high ranking person with a low ranking partner, then just face.
The next technique is soto maki fomi. I had chest surgery, so I'm not going to try to do that. But it starts out with the same footstep. And so it's just a kind of a pantomime. What happens with this is turn, you get your partner going, you come in for soto maki fomi. The last one is sumio toshi. And I've got on there that will demonstrate it, but I think we've got enough time. We'll play with it for just a minute or two. Starts out the same way. All 5 of these techniques all start out with the same odd footstep. So, turn out, rock, get him to come back this direction. He's going that way for sumio toshi. So, this one I have to kind of think my way through a little bit because it's a hard throw to do. It's just a pure hand technique. Sumio toshi. I will point out that I'm again moving my right foot across the body and establishing that foot kind of in front of my uke's right foot. So, one other thing that I'm doing that I'm not saying is let's go this direction. When I take this step over here, I'm not only just rocking back to this foot, but I'm also pushing with that front foot. So when I get to this point here where my hip is facing to that direction, and I start rocking back, I'm starting to press with this foot and pushing pretty hard into it. So I gain some additional power there. Okay, that's for all 5 of those techniques. So whenever I get over here, that's how I end up around because I'm also pushing with my right foot. But again, sumio toshi one more time. Turn, drift, curl. Go ahead. Try it. Here. I'm going to skip vertical circle. The way that you do seoi nage and uchimata and kataburuma is all pretty much the way that this does it. The only thing that you have to remember when you're doing these techniques is that you're throwing towards the front. And the front is defined as a line that goes in between the toes. And this is the front, that's the back, this is the side over here. You can throw seoi nage to the side, but for the case of this one from vertical circle, everything is thrown directly to the front. So if you start playing around with these, there to the front. Ukiyo Toshi is done in a standing position and not with a half sacrifice. Okay?
Oh, you know what? I forgot those.
Guess what? All right, stand up. All right, a bit of anatomy. If I push, just stand there, stay there, keep your feet kind of on the floor. If I push him backwards, he either rolls over his heels and falls down or he takes a step. And that's a function of the shape of his foot. If I pull him forward a little bit, he can dig his toes in, he can drop his butt back. You know, I mean, you've seen guys who can get way back and get all of their weight back behind their heels and put up a pretty good fight for being pulled forward. I'm going to make use of that notion that he has toes in the front and the heel in the back to make this next technique work. This one's a fine Kazushi exercise, and it's one of my favorites in the Gokyo no Waza. And what I want to do with this is Osotogari, so everybody knows I'm throwing Osotogari back over here to this corner. What I would like to do is I would like to start out by getting Matt. I'm going to make this a little bit big, so Matt's going to have to kind of cooperate with me a little bit. I'm going to take him not back this way first. I'm going to take him forward to this corner, and then I'm going to shift him across his toes to his little toe, and then I'm going to rock him back to his heel. So he doesn't have a chance to pick up his right foot at all because it's never threatened. So here's the way it works. I'm going to take a fake step forward. All right, so this is a step. Most of the time when you step into somebody, they walk backwards. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start swinging my hip around. I'm going to put my foot out here, and I'm not going to put much weight on it. And I'm going to start rolling my hip around. Notice where he's going. He's on that little toe on his left foot. Now as I turn and I come back this direction again, he's now coming over to the little toe on this foot. He hasn't had a chance to move that foot. And as I push my hip in, now he's on his heel. And I take the leg out from underneath him. Okay? So it's kind of, think about this as I'm doing this, I want to turn my body sideways so I'm facing my partner. So I don't want, this is not a straight insertion this way. If you do that, generally your partner will step back and out of that, unless you're really pulling really hard to keep hold of his weight on that foot. So the trick that I use is I'm swinging around the outside edge, take him out when he's standing on one leg. Okay.
Get sturdy.
Pretty easy to roll. That's all I'm doing. Little toes over here, back to the heel. The way I do that again is kind of circle, and then I turn my hip in. That's that turn and press. So here's the turn in, and the pressing motion is actually lifting of the leg. Come in really high for this. This isn't way out here far. This is it, really close. One of the ways that I sometimes teach this is don't throw with this. It's just lift him with your arm around behind the back, get to the point where you can support him. So you're not trying to chop the leg out from underneath it. You're trying to reap it out. Okay, go ahead.
After 22, the next one.
I always get wrong.
Sometimes when you attempt those Osotogari, you'll get your partner taking a step with his left foot to the side. So go ahead. Do Ochigari. If you're going to do Osotogari, get ready for the fact that your partner may take a step to the left. And as soon as he does, just be ready for Ochigari. Now you got a nice combination. You can make use of either one. Now your partner's got to find some other way to escape it. If he steps back, then do Uchimata. Okay?
One more time, guys. Just shorter. Come on. Just too easy.
So if with that a little bit of a pull forward in the shoulder. If your partner is very light on his toes, he senses that and he takes a step with his left foot. Do Ochigari. But now, do you know Uchimata? Okay, so Max, step back from Osotogari. So start with Osotogari. No, step back, right foot.
No, back. Okay.
Back. Here, I'll talk to you. Yeah, you take a step back with your right foot, so the way it is Osotogari. Now step in for Uchimata. Okay. So now you've got 3 different techniques that you can use, all from the exact same entry.
And you were speaking of this earlier at the very beginning.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Play with it just for another minute. We're going to quit at 9 o'clock, so we've got about 15, 16 minutes.
9 o'clock or so.
Okay, or so. Yeah.
If your taxi shows up, we'll tell them that you'll be right out.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start with retreat, and we're going to look at Dayashi Barai. And I'm going to give you a kind of a different way of looking at it. And this one starts with a walking step, like a lot of these techniques do. And for beginners, I want you to take a long step back, but I don't want you to move your body very far. But notice I've landed on my toes, and I'm on my toes. And now I'm going to rock back to my heel, because I want him to take 2 steps while I make 1. Now I just walked in front of my foot. That means I can sweep his foot. Okay? So, timing step, right foot moves forward and backward. I step backward, toe down, heel down, he takes a 2nd step. I only took 1 step. Toe down, heel down, mat goes down. Okay? So, there's a kind of a different way of starting, especially beginners who have such a hard time with this. They go here and then they go. They kick at each other for the longest time. You have to make uke take 2 steps to my 1. And the way to do that is to stay on my toes. So here, toes down, heel down, and now he walks across my foot. Toe down, heel down, mat down. Okay? Go ahead. Dayashi Barai. And then we'll do the 4th one. We'll do the Osotogari at the top. So the next one is Kosotogari. What we did with Dayashi Barai is I retreated linearly, straight back. No throw. I went back this way, put my toes down, made him take that 2nd step. This time I'm going to retreat in a circular fashion. Okay? So we use our same timing step here, and I'm going to turn off to the side here. Notice his foot comes forward. The thing that you notice about that is it isn't a barai, it's not a reach, so I don't want his foot light, because then it's just I pick up this foot, he picks up this foot, and then we just kind of dance out here. Instead it's a gari, I want to pull him onto his foot. So, oops, that's my timing right here. I need to pull him to me, pull him to weight the foot, the same way that you weight the foot as when you do Osotogari. You put the weight on the foot, you take the foot up from underneath him. When you're doing Kosotogari, here, I come here, you take that step here. This foot is light now, there's no weight on it. You need to get weight on it, so all I do is I pull it over. Now when I take the foot up, down he goes. So just remember the difference between barai, sweeping, and gari, leaping. Kosotogake is a hook. So this is the most, one of the stronger techniques that we have in judo. It starts out exactly the same way. I make this here, but now his foot is down and he's tight and locked. I have a really hard time doing this because it involves an arch. So you arch up, kind of like kicking up a Faraisui Komiyashi. You take the whole body up in the air. Or Sugiotoshi. Nice combination from that. So again, it's kind of like running into a planted fence post. Okay, he's really solid. I make my in, and he comes up and gets solid. So I can turn and throw them backwards, assuming Otoshi. Now, if I can't do that, again, this is one of those that tells a story. So, I come here, get solid, this doesn't work. Sumi Gaish. How do I do that? Oh, I know how to do that. I just walk back in the front. He's pushing this direction anyway because he doesn't want me to go that way. Sumi Gaish. Now, one more. That wasn't fun. That's fine. But the next one is even more fun. So, we get here, I got Kosoto Gake. I'm trying to do Sumi Gaish, and he resists by pulling back a little bit. Now I have a unique opportunity to do something that's never seen in Judo, or very rarely seen in Judo, and that is to get him to line up with me. So I'm going to press down on his elbow this way. See how I got him to turn his back? So, I'm here. I'm going to do Sumi Gaish. He's not going to let me. He's kind of resisting with that. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to retreat back on my foot this way. I'm going to turn his back. I'm going to press out with one hand. So I'm kind of peeling him across the body, hyperextending his back. Or sort of Baruma. We're going to do it a little different. We're going to do it Zampa style. So, we'll start this way, just with your partner. Step back. What I'd like to do, this is an object of this is trying to focus your attention on that foot so it steps right where you want it. There, there. That's Zen Judo, Osoto Baruma. All I'm doing is, and he's come here, and I'm just bumping his hip.
No legs at all.
No legs at all. Just bump the hip. Okay. Try to do this hand technique where you get uke to take this odd step. You will find your partner totally resists this. And you're going to have to screw it up in your own mind in order to get him to take that step. But if you practice it, you can get just about anybody to take that odd step. Once you do, one hand pushes out, the other one pulls in, and you bump the hip. Go ahead. Also to Roma.
Hurry, run. Run, anybody have to grab the phone?
I have a camera sensor.
Vern Sensei has an announcement to make.
If you wish, go ahead and take a picture of that board if you've got your camera with you. I'll peel all those yellow strips off so you can get a better picture of it. Those are on there just in the order I had to do. Second thing is that there's a written portion that I've handed out to some people. If you'd like that, just make sure that you give me your email address, and I'll email you a document for that, and so you can have the background material for what I taught tonight. So if you want to do that, just let me know. I'll sit over here with a piece of paper for a few minutes and collect signatures.
Okay, guys, here's the thing. I just want to add that a lot of times we've all been out there looking for the inner secrets to Judo. Sometimes we get them presented to us right here in our very own home, dojo. And I just want to let you know that from the 102 years I've been doing Judo, I'm always looking for inner secrets, and I just saw a whole bunch of them tonight. So I hope you understand that what you saw wasn't just some new way to do something. You got to put it in a lot deeper than that. And I want to thank Vern Sensei once more for coming.
Just get it. Thank you very much.
Maybe that's a little.